Hi guys, welcome back to another Hugh Jeffreys video. In this video, we're going to be restoring this iPhone XS. This is a 256 gig model with a smash screen and back. I purchased this phone from eBay for 335 Australian dollars. This was the cheapest broken one I could find at the time, but I still believe it was overpriced. That being said, good working ones are selling at around $600. To repair this phone, I have a new display, adhesive, a new piece of glass for the back, and a new battery. If you are doing a back glass replacement at home and don't have access to a laser machine, you'll need to replace the whole housing. I used to do this regularly, but for this video, I'm going to use the laser machine. I was curious to see whether this phone actually had a cracked screen because it looked like it was just mostly the screen protector with all of the cracks. So I removed it to find out. Unfortunately, after removing the screen protector, you can see it's still cracked underneath. So we'll need to crack open this iPhone by removing the two pentalobe screws from the bottom, lifting up on the display with a suction cup, and run our pick around the sides to separate the display from the frame. There is some adhesive here which aims to keep out the dust and water, but you can see I was able to slice right through it. With the display opened, I can remove the several tri-wing and one Phillips head screw to gain access to all of the connections we'll need to disconnect. Starting with the battery, I can disconnect the display cables and the earpiece cable as well. Removing the front display panel, we can get a closer look at the inside of this device. I noticed quite a lot of dust inside, so the water and dust resistant seal hasn't done its job. Regardless, I'm going to remove the device's logic board. While not strictly necessary when using a laser machine, removing it can avoid the possibility of the laser cutting into the board if the laser template isn't aligned correctly. There is only 3 screws securing the board in place. However, there is an additional 15 flex cables that need to be disconnected in order to remove it, including 2 pesky ones right at the top. The glue used to secure the glass sets like concrete. Unlike other brands of phones where the glass can be removed with a little heat, the iPhone needs lasers. Alternatively, you could replace the whole housing. Having done it many times though, I wanted to try it with lasers to compare the difficulty. For this, I'll be using a Refox laser machine. In the software, I can select the brand Apple and the template for the iPhone XS. On the machine, I'll focus the laser by placing the phone under the focusing probe. Afterwards, the device can be placed underneath the laser. Using a red light will allow me to ensure the template is aligned correctly. As it was large, I resized it as best I could. Proceeding, I can press the mark option to begin the process. I have created a full video on this machine, which I will link below if you're interested in learning more about the machine itself. This whole process takes around 10 minutes with the laser passing over the phone twice. This aims to disintegrate the adhesive underneath, which will make it easier for us to remove the glass on top. The more damage to the glass, the harder it is for the laser to break down the adhesive below. I've only attempted the laser back glass removal once. The process went without any issues. This time on the second run, a small amount of flame started to come out of the phone. I quickly stopped the machine. At first I thought I must have hit the wireless charging coil, but I believe it was just sparking on some exposed metal. Either way, I thought this was a good time to stop and try and get the back glass removed. As you can see after the process, it's turned a frosty black color. From here, we can put it in a clamp and start getting this glass removed. At first, I tried a suction cup, but that didn't seem to work. So I decided for my point of entry, I would just go from where the glass was lifting up. From here, I could get in a Jimmy tool and start breaking away the glass. Compared to the iPhone XR that I did recently, this did not come off nearly as easy. Maybe it could have done with another run under the laser, as the glue felt a little bit stronger than the one on the iPhone XR. But not only was it harder to remove, it was also coming up in a lot smaller pieces. This is mainly due to just how cracked the back was. However, to make matters worse, we still need to get the glass removed around the camera lens. See, Apple places the glass underneath the lens itself. The glass we'll be installing actually has a bigger camera cutout, meaning it will sit over top of the camera rather than going underneath it. This is most doubtably the hardest part of the whole repair, as the glass here is not only really hard to remove, but the laser struggles to burn the adhesive around this area. Once we're done, we'll need to place the device back under the laser machine so we can burn all of the remaining adhesive that's still on the frame. We'll need to refocus everything and start the burning process once again. The laser will need to pass over the housing twice, just like it did before. The first time, nothing really happens but the frame turning a golden color. The second pass is where you start to see the adhesive change color and lift up from the frame. Once it's completed, we can scrape away all of the old adhesive. It took 4 passes with the laser machine to achieve this. This goes to show just how tough it is. There is no way the adhesive needs to be this strong. I thought I would attempt a custom back design. However, after printing it out on the laser, it came out all pixelated, even though in the software it was perfectly clear. Using the software to print just text, it comes out perfectly fine. I will need to find out what's causing this issue so I can reattempt this in the future. I had attempted this before and it worked just fine. However, for this phone, I'll just be installing an original back panel. I can go ahead and apply the glue to the back of the phone. The last time I did this, I couldn't get the glue gun to work. Shout out to a commenter who figured out I just had the plunger in the wrong way. With the glue applied, I can place the back panel into place, making sure it is lined up correctly and place a heavy object on it until it dries. Then I can remove all the excess glue that seeped out the sides. With the back all ready to go, it's time to turn our attention to the internals of the phone, where I'm going to remove the speaker and Taptic Engine. This will give us access to the battery adhesive tabs we'll need to remove to be able to get our battery out of place. After disconnecting a sneaky little flex cable underneath, we can remove both the Taptic Engine and speaker. From there, we can remove the adhesive strips. These can be difficult to remove given they snap quite easily, so you need to take your time and be careful when removing them. I wasn't able to get the middle lower one out due to the flex cable that was right underneath it, but I was able to pry the battery out without any issues. From there, we can reinstall our Taptic Engine and our speaker so we can continue reassembling the phone. Before I install the logic board, I'm going to remove the front-facing camera and Face ID assembly. This will just make it slightly easier to reinstall our logic board into place, as it's a few less flex cables that are going to get in the road when I'm trying to get everything seated down. With the logic board in place, there is now a heap of flex cables I'll need to connect, as well as this bracket on the end. Fastening the 2 other screws, we can reinstall that Face ID module, connecting its appropriate flex cables into place. As Apple pairs each battery to every iPhone, I wanted to try and transfer its serial numbers to our new one. I tried doing this using a JC Pro 1000S. However, I wasn't able to write the new serial number as the battery wouldn't accept it. However, I will reprogram the display as well, as that is another component Apple is pairing on the phone. Failure to do this will result in the True Tone function not working. So I'll need to transfer the data using the JC Pro 1000S from the old screen to the new one. After burning the data, it's important to read it back to ensure that it copied correctly. With the software side of the screen ready to go, it's time to get the hardware moved across. The earpiece sensor will need to be transferred. This is a vital component to the phone, not only because it's the earpiece speaker, but because it contains a module for the Face ID sensor. If you damage this, the Face ID will no longer function on the phone, even if the cable is replaced. It's now time to crack out our new display panel and get everything installed in the phone. I'll remove this protective film and get our earpiece reattached. After securing the 3 tri-wing screws, our display panel is ready to go. We'll need to clean up the frame before we can apply our new water and dust resistant seal. It's important to remove all of this so our new seal makes proper contact with the frame. After it was removed, I used a cotton swab with some isopropyl alcohol to remove any dust and grime left behind. I could then reinstall our new seal into place, pressing it down with a spudger. Connecting up the display panel, we can test out the phone to make sure that our new screen is working, our new battery is functional, and all the rest of the phone is still working after our laser treatment. You can see in settings, the battery health continues to load for a few minutes before displaying the battery not genuine message, which is found on the iPhone XS and later. Now that we've confirmed the battery is working, it's time to adhere it down into place. After doing so, we can get our display panel reattached. After connecting the 3 display cables and the battery, we can then remove the protective film across the battery and around the edges of the phone, which will reveal the adhesive. After which, I can install the cowling back into place, securing the 4 tri-wing and 1 Phillips head screw. After giving the inside of the phone a clean, I can seal the screen back into position and reinstall the 2 pentalobe screws in the bottom of the phone. All that's left to do is remove the plastic protective film from both the back and front of the phone, and we're done. So this is it, an iPhone XS restored back into good condition. We replaced the smashed display and back panel, as well as the old battery, which had around 650 cycles and would be shortly nearing its end of life, as batteries typically only last between 800 and 1000 cycles. Only after completing this project, I noticed the display panel I've installed is an unsatisfactory LCD panel, not an OLED, which this device should have. The screen works, although the viewing angles are poor, not only compared to the original screen, but also a good LCD screen. The screen on this iPhone is now also thicker than it should be. Running an LCD screen in a phone that wasn't designed for it can cause damage to the logic board, as the phone is now driving an LED backlight, which it was never supposed to do. I have ordered a refurbished OLED screen for $108 to replace this display. The total cost, including the new yet to arrive OLED screen, was $466. And on that note, this has been a Hugh Jeffreys video. If you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button and consider checking out the phone restoration playlist for more videos just like this one. And if you're looking for any tips or what tools I use to repair devices, be sure to check out my website, link for which is down the description. That's all for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.